everyone, I'm Valerie, your knitting fairy godmother. I'm here with Linda from Color Storms Yarn, and we are talking about the last chapter of Wheesht. The chapter title is Elevate.
Elevate. I wasn't sure what this meant at first, but
Same.
it's it's really all about collaborating with others and elevating ourselves and the world of art and knitting, through recognizing the community around us, right? Rather than it being an individual necessarily. It's not always an individual endeavor.
Yeah. For me, the languaging that stuck out was the concept of applied art,
Right.
because that's something I struggle with. Like, fiber arts is a good broad term, but it's not, unless you're in the fiber arts, you don't know what that means. The royal you. Um, and sometimes even knitting and crochet can create some friction when we talk about it. Um, and like I do feel like I am an artist, even though I use yarn as my medium,
Mhm.
and I take it very seriously and I practice and I've developed mastery, right? And so I really like that language.
Applied art is a great term. It was new for me, so it took me a little bit to even realize that it referred to knitting as well. It's it's really cool that the artist that she highlights in this chapter is Macbeth. What's her first name?
Mm. Is it Anne?
Yes, Anne Macbeth. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
She is an embroiderer. So I have a good friend that does watch us. Hi, Gigi Lynn. She loves cross stitch. So this
Mm-hmm.
artist, Anne Macbeth, is for you this week. She was around the time of, she was born in 1875 in Bolton, Lancashire. And she kind of went outside the box for her time. Instead of just, I guess, getting married and having a family, she pursued a career. And in college, she became a part of the Glasgow School of Art
Mm-hmm.
and won a contest, an embroidery contest, and was eventually employed at Knox's Linen Thread Company. See, anywhere else? Yeah, and her as an embroiderer and as an embroidery designer. And so her designs were really unique for the time. And she also worked toward making it affordable because the community around her was not well off. So she insisted in the company that they, instead of using silk threads, that they use affordable backing material and threads. So
Mm-hmm.
rather than using costly silks, she writes, Macbeth insisted on the use of inexpensive fabrics like calico, Hessian, and flannel. Hessian? I've never heard of that. I don't know what that is.
I'll have to Google it.
She believed that cheap, durable materials were not only one way, were cheap, durable materials were not only one way for a creative hand to turn limitation into innovation, but might also be a powerful means of transforming the art of embroidery from an exclusive drawing room accomplishment to an accessible, practical form of creative endeavor that women of all classes might turn to their advantage.
Mm-hmm.
She was ahead of her time in that.
She was so ahead of her time. And I'm thinking about springboarding off of that idea and concept. I'm thinking about a book that I read, a historical fiction novel by Tracy Chevalier called A Single Thread.
Mm,
And the whole book surrounds the group of women who embroider
wow.
at the church. And it's a really compelling book, but the way that the author talks about the embroidery is so much how I feel about knitting and crochet, both from the feel of the materials in my hand, looking at the final product, the time that I can reflect, the quiet time when I'm just working by myself, but then also the aspects of community where we can get together around a shared interest and how that really enriches my life. Um,
Hmm.
and I love the concept and idea of using different materials or, bringing it like to a place where everybody has access to things,
Mm-hmm.
the raw materials that you can use to create.
Good thoughts on that. I was really drawn to the idea of a collaboration and how important it is to understand the community and the history behind your art. I know I have an art degree, went to Frostburg State University, and I majored in what kind of art is not practical? Studio art, not commercial art. The other one.
I'm so far removed from that world. I don't know what it is.
My old brain.
It's capital A art.
The kind that's the kind that I couldn't figure out what to do with after I graduated. Um, but I learned so much in college. I really did. And in important in the process of getting the degree was doing art history, lots of art history. And I noticed that this is still happening. Bethany is going to an art school too, my youngest daughter, and she is getting a degree from the Rocky Mountain School of Art and Design. And they're requiring her to do a lot of art history, the history of women, modern art. I see her taking lots of classes so that you understand the the history of where your craft or your art is coming from and the context. And because Kate Davies makes a point that no creation is completely original. We
And how can we even say that at this
Right,
point?
all our ideas are born from our life experiences and the art that we've observed and been part of through our lifetime, whether
Mm-hmm.
recently or far in the past.
Yeah. I mean, we see that in music over and over again where, you know, an artist hears a song, likes that riff, puts it in their song. It's not, and it's a really gray, muddy area of copying and original, and like there's overlap where you're sort of using or borrowing or improvising off of ideas. But even Kate Davies has talked about that throughout this book of
Mhm.
there's no original idea.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. I know. I like the humility surrounding that. Um, I like the idea of a collaboration,
Mm-hmm.
of doing something with somebody else, rather than having all the responsibility myself. I know now, like for example, Kate Davies has written a book of hats where each of her patterns are not hers necessarily, but she's gathered other artists together to make a book of hats that showcase many artists.
Mm-hmm.
And that idea even Dr. Laura, for the radio
Mm.
personality, all her books are based on the stories from other people. You know,
100%.
she's highlighting all the lessons that we can all learn, from other people's stories. It's such a great concept. I'd much rather
Yeah.
be in a community than by myself.
Yes.
What else did you like about the chapter? This applied art, right? That
Applied
you brought
art.
up is
Yeah,
such a
it's
good one.
I don't come from the art world. I have like I went to university, but I have kind of a business degree, so that is not an art intensive situation. But I've studied the creative process and I've studied the design process and incorporated those ideas and concepts into even the business solutions I come up with
Mm.
in my career. So maybe that's also a form of applied art. I don't know.
Well, certainly it is a form of creativity, right? Your
Yeah.
best business people um, brainstorm new ideas, come up with creative concept, use the ideas of gather people around them to generate great ideas. And whether it's a matter of how you're trying to market something, or whether you're developing a new product, or whether you're just trying to figure out how to make all the financial picture work, creativity, I
Hmm.
think, is such an important aspect of almost anything you do.
We don't talk about it in that framework, but it's really an everyday skill that is part of the human condition, or, that idea and concept. And I'm learning that constraint breeds creativity. Like,
Hmm.
almost the more walls and barriers that you have, it forces creative thinking to solve the problem,
Hmm.
whether it's time, resources, you know, I don't know what else could be constraining.
That's like her chapter on limitations. Doesn't she
Yeah,
have a chapter?
you're
Have
right.
limits?
Hmm.
Yeah,
We're sort of wrapping all of this.
I know. I
She's
know.
bringing it into a neat and tidy bow.
Well, we've noticed as we've been reading her chapters that there's some themes that have been
Hmm.
repeating themselves. And I think that's a strength in a book. These chapters connect with each other.
Yeah, I love repetition, so it really helps me to have that message reinforced over and over and over again. And so it's helpful for me that there's these themes.
Yes, yes. Give you one.
All right.
All right.
So,
Well, I've had so much fun reading this book with everyone. Thanks for joining us. And I encourage you to take your creative thoughts with you and maybe a new area, especially if you're trying to crack the nut of a problem.
so good.
Take care. We'll see you next time.
Bye bye.